My siblings sold our family home while I was still in the garden with Mom, and 2 weeks later, they dumped her in a rundown facility and vanished. They thought I'd stay quiet. Instead, I walked back through nursing home Shady Pines doors with a badge, a clipboard, and a plan to burn their lies to the ground. When I walked in, Phyllis Grant, the facility director, smiled like I was just another visitor. She didn't recognize me. Not yet. My blazer felt stiff against my shoulders. I tugged it straight, tucked the audit tablet tighter to my side, and introduced myself. Teresa Langley. I'm with the Joint Commission's third-party audit unit. I kept my voice flat, my words clipped. Professional. Unshakable. Phyllis's eyes flicked toward my badge. Of course. You're early. We weren't expecting anyone from the state until next month. I just smiled. Surprise, she chuckled, but her laugh landed crooked. Well, we pride ourselves on staying ready. Liar. I had already clocked 3 violations before she finished her sentence. 2 unplugged oxygen concentrators. 1 fire exit blocked by a supply cart. But that wasn't what made my hands sweat. It was the nameplate on the wall. Marjorie Langley, room 104B. I hadn't seen Mom in 6 months. Last time, she was in our sunroom, sipping peppermint tea and asking if we could plant lavender again that spring. Back when she still lived at home. Our home. Phyllis offered to show me around. Her voice was syrupy, forced. She was stalling already. I nodded and walked beside her, letting the clipboard shield my shaking hand. We passed the rec room. A few residents sat watching a muted TV, one of them crying softly, ignored. Another violation. No supervision. Phyllis gestured down a side hall. This is our long-term care wing. We have licensed RNs on every shift and… Is room 104B in this wing? I interrupted. She blinked. Yes, but… Wait, you know someone here? I tapped the screen on my tablet. It's listed on my review docket. Phyllis's polite facade cracked. Her gaze tightened. You said your name was Langley? I looked her dead in the eye. Funny coincidence, huh? She didn't smile. As we turned the corner, I heard my mother's voice, faint but warm. The tea's too cold again, but they say it's for safety. It made something twist in my chest. She didn't even know I was coming. Didn't know I'd become the one holding the clipboard. Didn't know I was about to burn this place down from the inside out. I followed the hallway past dusty light fixtures in paint the color of dry oatmeal. Every few feet, the scent shifted. Chlorine, old carpet, reheated food. Phyllis kept talking, too fast now. You'll find our patient files are completely up to code, digitally backed up and notarized. She glanced at me like she expected praise. I gave none. I stopped outside, room 104B. The door was open an inch. A nurse inside adjusted the bedding. My mother sat in a wheelchair, her silver hair combed back, wearing a pink cardigan I'd never seen before. She looked smaller, and her eyes unfocused. The nurse smiled, unsure. Can I help you? I stepped forward, slow and steady. Compliance visit. Continue as you were. Mom turned toward me but didn't react. She tilted her head. Do you work here? You look like Teresa. Her voice trailed off. Phyllis stepped in quickly. Ms. Langley has mild cognitive delay from her stroke, but she's very sweet. She's been adjusting well. I held her gaze. Did you obtain medical release before transferring her here? She hesitated. That was handled by her legal guardians. Her son, Dennis Langley. I cut in. And Melinda Langley. Now she understood. Phyllis cleared her throat. Yes, they signed all necessary documents. Sure they did. Forged, notarized, and filed before I could blink. While I was out at CVS buying Mom her prescriptions, they sold the house right from under us. No call. No warning. Just a notarized lie left on the kitchen counter like a damn grocery list. I crouched in front of Mom. Do you remember our old house? She blinked. With the red shutters. And lavender in the yard. My throat tightened. I stood. We'll need to see her intake files. Health history, legal documents, digital timestamps. Phyllis fumbled. Of course, if you'll just wait in the conference room. I'll wait here. I set my clipboard on the nightstand, close enough that Mom could touch it. Her hand drifted over it, resting gently like she recognized its weight. Phyllis left in a hurry. That's when a younger nurse passed by and whispered to her coworker, She's a Langley too. I think that's her daughter. The other nurse looked up fast. Then why didn't anyone tell us? I didn't say a word, but the storm had just arrived, and it had my name. Phyllis didn't come back. Instead, a man with a clipboard and badge that didn't quite match his uniform knocked on the doorframe. "You requested documents?" He looked 25 at most. Probably thought I'd be easy to deflect. I held out my hand. "Full intake file for Marjorie Langley. Digital copies preferred. Time-stamped signatures. And chain of custody logs for medical disclosure." He blinked. "That's above my clearance. I'll need to talk to admin." "You do that," I said. Flat. "Clock's running." He hesitated, then disappeared down the hall. I turned to Mom. She hummed softly now, eyes closed, lips mouthing something. A lullaby. I used to think she only sang those to Melinda. Turns out she'd sung them to me too. I just forgot. The audit tablet vibrated. A new alert popped up. "Camera offline. North Rec Hall. Manual obstruction." I tapped for feed history. The last image showed a potted plant pushed right up against the lens. Sloppy. I flagged the violation. 2 minutes later, a door slammed somewhere down the hallway. Raised voices. The younger nurse poked her head in, eyes wide. "Someone's here to see you." A familiar voice barked, "I want this inspection paused until legal gets here." I stepped out. Melinda. She looked like an Instagram reel. Flawless tan, matching set in beige, sunglasses she didn't take off indoors. She carried a tote bag, oversized and overpriced. And she was furious. "Oh my God, Teresa, what the hell are you doing here?" she hissed, voice sharp as cut glass. I raised my badge. "State licensed auditor. This facility is under review." "You're auditing us?" Her mouth fell open. "No, I'm auditing them," I said, nodding toward the exit sign. "You just happen to be standing in the splash zone." She stepped closer, whispering like it made her safe. "You can't use this job to settle a grudge. This is insane." I smiled, small. Good thing I brought backup. I tapped the side of my blazer. A tiny red light blinked. Her eyes went wide. "You're recording?" "I'm documenting." Behind her, a staffer passed by muttering, "Langley. That's the daughter, that's her." Melinda turned, suddenly aware of the stares. Her hands curled into fists. "You're making a scene," she whispered. "No," I said. "I'm just getting started." Melinda blocked the hallway like she owned the place. "You're overreacting. You don't even know the full story." "I know Dennis sold the house before Mom's physical evaluation was done," I said. Her breath hitched. "It was an emergency. She needed care, real care, not some burnout daughter playing Florence Nightingale." I stared her down. "You mean the daughter who left her job to take care of Mom when you didn't even show up?" She looked away. "That house was falling apart. The market was hot. Dennis found a buyer." "Dennis forged my signature," I snapped. The hallway got very quiet. Melinda's mouth opened, then closed. "I saw the deed. Dated 4 weeks after I filed my formal resignation with Medcor," I said. "Time-stamped, logged. I wasn't even home the day it was notarized." "That wasn't me," she said too fast. "But you were there," I said, voice low. "Your name's on the transfer paperwork. You signed as a witness." That landed. I stepped past her, leaving the silence behind me like a dropped match. Back in the room, Mom was still humming. I touched her shoulder. "I'll be right back, okay?" She blinked up at me. "Did you bring the lavender?" It felt like something broke in my ribs. "Not yet." The young nurse reappeared. "Compliance room's open. Admin said you can use it for records review." "Thank you," I said. "Pull copies of emergency transfer logs too." I walked the sterile hallway again, clipboard tapping against my leg like a metronome. Every staffer who passed gave me a different look: curiosity, suspicion, relief. In the admin wing, I stepped into the tiny compliance room. It smelled like paper and coffee that had burned 1 hour too long. I logged into the audit tablet and opened the facility's internal inspection feed. 4 camera zones flagged as temporarily disabled. 2 had clear signs of obstruction. Plants again. Lazy sabotage. Then 1 feed popped up live. Room 104B, my mother, and Melinda, now inside. I leaned in. Melinda crouched beside the bed, clutching Mom's hand, her voice high and fake sweet. "I didn't want to leave you, okay? Teresa's being difficult again. She doesn't understand." Mom stared right through her. Then she whispered something. I hit record and turned up the volume. I don't think I like this place. The audio crackled. I don't think I like this place, Mom said again, softer, like she was trying not to get in trouble. Melinda's voice turned syrupy. It's just new, Mom. You'll get used to it. No lavender, Mom mumbled. No windows. She reached for something, but Melinda pulled her hand back gently. You have everything you need here. Just trust us. I paused the feed, then backed it up 10 seconds, played it again. It wasn't just guilt, it was manipulation. Carefully packaged words fed to a woman still rewiring her brain after a stroke. They hadn't moved her for care. They moved her for convenience. And they lied. The compliance tablet pinged again. New file received. Resident transfer authorization, M. Langley. I opened it. The signature line jumped out first. Marjorie Langley's name, scrawled and uneven. But something was off. Too clean. Too consistent for a woman who could barely hold a teacup 6 months ago. I zoomed in. Digital signature overlay detected. Forged. I flagged it. Violation number 7. My pulse steadied. I was past anger now. Past heartbreak. This was the part one knew how to handle. Documentation, codes, timestamps, truth. I uploaded my voice memo from the hallway, synced it with the security footage of Melinda entering room 104B, cross-referenced with facility logs. All of it matched. Someone knocked. A voice called, Ms. Langley? There's a man here to see you. Dennis. Of course. I opened the door, and there he stood. My brother in a pressed polo, and that same smug confidence he always wore when he thought the deck was stacked in his favor. He didn't smile. This is over your head, Riza. He still called me that. I kept my face neutral. You're not allowed back here without staff permission. I'm her guardian, he said, smug. That includes access. I held up my badge. State auditor. Trump's temporary guardian. He stepped in anyway. You're not going to find anything. I had the paperwork reviewed. By who? Your poker buddies? His smile faltered. I walked right past him, eyes locked forward. I have 9 flagged violations already. 9? He echoed, voice going tight. And I'm not done yet. Behind us, a nurse's voice came through the intercom. Can someone check the oxygen lines in 104B? Something's off. I didn't blink. Let him follow. The deeper he came in, the worse it would get. Dennis followed me down the hallway like he was still king of something. I had power of attorney, he said, low. It was legal. In which state? I asked. Because California requires disclosure of any material medical conditions in a residential transfer. He stopped walking. What? I turned to face him. You didn't report the stroke, Dennis. You submitted an outdated intake form from 6 months prior. That's fraud. He glanced around. Keep your voice down. I'm not the one who needs to worry about volume. I stepped into the nurse's station and set the audit tablet on the counter. Can you verify whether a resident's oxygen tank has been changed in room 104B within the last 48 hours? The nurse, a no-nonsense woman with her badge clipped to a scrub pocket, tapped at her terminal. Doesn't look like it. Logged as pending replacement yesterday morning. No completion record. That's a Class 2 violation, I said. She nodded. Want me to log it? I turned the tablet toward her. Already done. Behind me, Dennis muttered. This is ridiculous. I ignored him. The overhead lights flickered once, then again. And from somewhere back by the dining hall I heard someone shout, Hey! The freezer's out again! I looked at the nurse. That's the 4th electrical fault in 3 days, isn't it? She sighed. Yep. Phyllis keeps kicking the repair order down the road. Not anymore. She smiled like someone watching justice arrive right on time. I turned to Dennis. You didn't just sell the house. You threw her in here like luggage and ran. He crossed his arms. We thought you'd take it like you always do. That's the problem, I said. You never imagined I'd do anything else. Then my tablet beeped again. Unauthorized login attempt. Audit portal. Device ID match. Phyllis Grant, I tapped to confirm. She was trying to access my flagged reports. I smiled cold. Dennis must have seen it, because he took a step back. What did you do? I turned the tablet so he could see the new screen. Every audit syncs to cloud storage in real time. I don't need to hold the evidence, I said. It's already in state hands. The color drained from his face. From behind us, a door slammed open. Footsteps. Fast. Panicked. Melinda again. This time with someone new in tow. I brought our lawyer, she snapped. I didn't move. Good, I said. He's going to want to see this next part. The man trailing Melinda wore a shiny suit, 2 sizes too big for his confidence. He looked at me, then at the tablet, then back at her. You didn't say she was with the state. Melinda hissed. She's not. She's my sister. Teresa Langley, I said, not even offering a hand. Acting under authority of the California Elder Care Compliance Initiative, Pilot Unit 3. The lawyer's face changed. You're a licensed auditor? Certified 2 months ago, I said. Assigned here by request. Dennis stepped forward. You requested this facility? Sure did, I said. Used my 1 annual reassignment option. Melinda blinked, actually stunned. You planned this? No, I said. I trained for this. Their lawyer pulled Melinda aside. I didn't catch everything, but I heard. If she's flagged 9 violations already, we're looking at $500,000 in fines. Dennis ran a hand through his hair. Jesus. Then the intercom crackled again. A new voice this time. Stern. Male. Unfamiliar. Code gray. Conference room. Immediate response team to admin wing. I looked at the nurse behind the desk. That's your security protocol? She nodded. Phyllis triggered it. That's usually for aggression. Aggression? I grabbed my tablet, stepped fast around the corner, and saw her. Phyllis Grant, director of Shady Pines, standing in the conference room, red in the face and yelling at a janitor. I want that camera turned off now. The janitor looked helpless. Ma'am, it's a hardwired system. It syncs to the audit portal. That's a privacy violation. Get it down! She reached up toward the camera mounted in the corner. I snapped a still from the live feed on my tablet, then stepped inside. Phyllis, I said, voice calm as a lake. Do you have a moment? She spun around, caught in mid-reach. You are out of bounds, she growled. You're not supposed to be recording. I don't control the cameras, I said, but I do audit their compliance. I tapped the screen. That was violation 10. Attempted destruction of evidence. Behind me, Melinda's lawyer let out a noise like a sigh and a curse combined. Phyllis turned pale. Get out of my facility, she snapped. You're confused, I said, and slid the badge forward. This is my facility, today, and I hadn't even opened the BODYCAM footage yet. I opened the tablet's media tab and tapped the file labeled BODYCAM Entry Hall to Room 104B timestamp 2 hours ago. The footage played quietly, but sharp. Every muffled voice, every rustling clipboard, every cracked tile on the floor. I turned the screen so Phyllis could watch herself approach me with that fake smile. Why are you showing me this? She asked, voice tight. To give you one chance, I said. To come clean before this hits the state review board. Melinda stepped forward. You're bluffing. I didn't even blink. Am I? The footage rolled on. At the 12-minute mark, it caught Phyllis telling me everything was digitally notarized. At 14:32, it picked up the blocked fire exit. At 15:10, an unlicensed caregiver administering medication. I didn't know she wasn't certified, Phyllis snapped. We're short-staffed. Then you shouldn't have taken in high-needs patients, I replied. Including mine. Dennis muttered something, but I ignored him. Because the footage hit 1800 and showed Melinda standing in room 104B saying, Teresa's being difficult again. She doesn't understand. Then Mom's voice. Shaky. Real. I don't think I like this place. I hit pause. The silence that followed was massive. Even the janitor shifted like he wanted to sink into the floor. Melinda's lawyer pinched the bridge of his nose. We need a minute. I raised my brow. You'll have it. In state court. I clicked the tablet off and turned toward the exit. I'm submitting this inspection for urgent flag. Preliminary findings show 9 violations. 2 Class 2s. 1 potential Class 1. Phyllis grabbed my sleeve. You don't understand what you're doing. This will ruin me. I met her eyes. You ruined yourself the moment you let her name become a bed number. She let go. As I walked back down the hallway, a nurse caught up with me. She whispered, There's one more thing you should see. Staff have been scared to talk, But now that you're here, she glanced around. I lowered my voice. What is it? She handed me a thumb drive, labeled in Sharpie, Feb Backup, Night Shift Cam 3. She said, there's footage on this, something the admin tried to wipe. What kind of footage? Her lips were a tight line. Of your mother, and someone unplugging her oxygen. I took the drive like it was radioactive. My fingers shook, but I didn't let it show. I tucked it into the audit tablet's USB port and waited for the file list to load. Only one clip. Cam3_17_0146 HRS dot MP4 146 AM graveyard shift. I clicked play. The camera angle was fixed, high corner of the hallway outside, room 104B. The lighting was dim, but not too dim. At the 30-second mark, someone entered the frame. Male, tall, uniformed. Not a nurse, no clipboard, no gloves, just a key card and a fast glance down the hall. He entered my mother's room. 10 seconds passed, 20, then movement again. He stepped out holding a small black hose, connected to a portable oxygen unit. He tucked it into a maintenance cart and rolled it away. The timestamp blinked quietly in the corner. 1 hour 48 minutes and 13 seconds, and not a single incident report logged that night. I froze the frame. Zoomed in. His name badge glinted under the overhead light. D. Langley Dennis. Dennis unplugged her oxygen. I uploaded the clip into the audit cloud, labeled it critical, evidence of abuse, immediate review required, and sent a separate copy to the state ombudsman. Then I stood up. Phyllis, Melinda, and Dennis were all still bickering at the end of the hallway, their voices echoing. I walked right into the middle of them. Hey, Dennis, I said, sharp as a blade. He turned, smirked. Then his eyes caught the screen of my tablet, still playing the footage in a silent loop. His smirk vanished. What is that? He asked, voice faltering. Your future, maybe, I said. If prison still counts. He lunged forward, grabbing for the tablet. I stepped back, careful. State property. Melinda grabbed his arm. What are you doing? What I should have done from the start, I said. Protect her. Phyllis looked like she'd stopped breathing. You think you're going to come out of this clean? Dennis hissed. You think anyone cares about your little vendetta? Not a vendetta, I said. It's an inspection. And yours is over. A uniformed officer entered the hallway just then, responding to the state call I'd triggered 2 minutes ago. He looked at me. Teresa Langley? I nodded. He looked at Dennis. We need to have a conversation. Dennis didn't move, but his face said it all. He knew it was over. Dennis tried to play it cool. Officer, this is a misunderstanding. I work in real estate. I don't even have access to medical equipment. The officer didn't flinch. Your ID badge was logged on site at 1:44 a.m. February 17th. Swipe history confirmed. We've seen the footage. Dennis's face twisted. That doesn't prove intent. It proves opportunity, I said. And motive. The officer turned to me. Do you have a secure copy of the recording? 3, I replied. Cloud, tablet, and external drive. All time-stamped? He nodded. We'll take a sworn statement shortly, Melinda finally snapped. This is harassment. She's unstable. She quit her job to play nursemaid and lost it when we took control. The officer raised an eyebrow. You're? Melinda Langley. Daughter. Co-signer on the facility transfer. Were you aware of the forged medical disclosures? Her mouth opened, then closed. I signed what Dennis gave me, which is exactly why we're opening a fraud inquiry, I said. She glared at me. You think you're some kind of hero? I turned toward the nurses, watching from the corners of the hallway. One nodded. Another crossed her arms like she'd been waiting for this moment all year. I'm not a hero, I said. I'm the clipboard you should have seen coming. Melinda's lawyer stepped in again. Eyes like lead. My clients will not be answering any more questions. The officer shrugged. Then we'll speak to the state attorney. Behind us, Phyllis leaned against the wall, visibly sweating. This is all spiraling out of control. I walked up to her slowly. You've falsified logs, hidden violations, endangered residents. I said, this isn't spiraling, it's documenting. She blinked. But this place will be shut down. I know. That's when the email came through. Subject line. Initial findings. Shady Pines Compliance Report. Fines. $480,000 violations. 11 immediate termination recommended. Director Phyllis Grant. I turned the tablet so she could see. She sagged like something inside her cracked in half. As she slid down the wall, hands trembling, I bent just low enough to whisper, "You knew what they did to her. And you smiled anyway." Melinda's voice rose behind me. "You'll regret this." I stood. "Not likely," I said, because now it was public. And I wasn't just the daughter. I was the one they'd have to answer to. By the time I walked out of Shady Pines, local news vans were pulling into the lot. Someone had leaked the footage. Not me. But I wasn't complaining. A reporter caught sight of my badge and called out, "Ma'am, is it true that a staff member unplugged your mother's oxygen?" I didn't stop walking. Not a staff member. Then who? Her son. Gasps rippled behind me. Cameras clicked like summer cicadas. I slid into my car, locked the doors, and pulled up the latest state bulletin. The notice was live. Shady Pines Living Center. Emergency audit results. Failed. 4 hours later, I was back in my apartment, feet bare on cold tile, watching it unfold on TV. The newscaster's voice was stiff with horror. Facility Director Phyllis Grant has been removed pending further investigation. State Attorney's Office confirmed the opening of a fraud case tied to forged medical records. Marjorie Langley, a recent patient, was among those allegedly placed without proper medical consent. And then, a grainy image of Dennis, pulled from the audit footage. Bold letters beneath, "Brother unplugged oxygen. State launches criminal inquiry." I turned the volume down. The quiet was sweeter. My phone buzzed. A voicemail from an unknown number. "Melinda. Teresa, you've made your point. It's all over now. Are you happy? Mom's all over the news. I can't even open my socials without seeing my name dragged. Sponsors are pulling out. You always hated me. Fine. You win." I didn't save it. Instead, I opened a secure portal and submitted my final compliance summary. Then I filed the transfer paperwork. Marjorie Langley, reassigned to Silver Hollow Residential, top-rated for post-stroke therapy and family accessibility. They had a wait list, but I'd made some calls. Dropped the clipboard, picked up the phone. They bumped her up. 2 days later, I met Mom in the lobby, her bag packed, her cardigan buttoned wrong. She looked up, dazed. "Is it morning?" I knelt, smiling for the first time in weeks. "No, Mama, it's leaving time." She blinked. "Home?" "Not yet," I said, "but somewhere safe." As the nurse wheeled her out, I looked back at the cracked walls of Shady Pines. One last time, then turned and didn't look back again. Silver Hollow smelled like eucalyptus and linen, the kind of clean that didn't need bleach to prove itself. I'd toured it twice before filing transfer, once as an auditor, once as a daughter. The difference mattered. Mom was wheeled into a sunlit room with an actual window view. Lavender in the garden. A bird feeder already attracting finches. She blinked around, slow and unsure, but her shoulders dropped like she recognized the light. A nurse placed a quilt over her legs and said, "You're safe here, Ms. Langley. Your daughters made sure of that." I stood in the doorway, arms crossed over my chest. I wasn't crying, but something beneath my ribs gave a little. She didn't say much that first day, just looked at me once while sipping lukewarm tea and whispered, "You're the quiet one. But you never forget." I smiled. "No, Mama, I never do." By the end of the week, she knew the garden staff by name. The audit closed officially on Friday. I submitted my final affidavit, delivered sworn testimony, then packed my state tablet into the return envelope and slid it into the mail slot. My work there was done. But the fallout had only begun. Dennis was suspended from his brokerage license pending the fraud investigation. 2 buyers had filed complaints. One accused him of forging a disclosure on another elderly seller. Melinda went dark on socials. Her most recent sponsored brand, a wellness tea company, publicly ended their contract, citing misalignment of values. A clip of her fake sweet voice in room 104B was now a trending TikTok duet. Even her yoga app saw a drop-off. Account deactivated, the screen said when I checked. I didn't cheer. I didn't need to. Because on Monday morning, I walked into a real estate office upstate and signed a purchase agreement for a lakeside cabin. 2 beds, 1 sun porch, no neighbors for a quarter-mile. I paid in full, quietly, with the same account I'd built while everyone thought I was licking my wounds. The agent looked at me over the closing paperwork. "First-time buyer?" I smiled. "First-time buyer, second-time daughter." And for the first time in a long while, I let myself exhale.